So, you might have heard the rumors going around that DC is making a Suicide Squad game. You should be taking these with a handful of salt because we haven't really gotten any confirmation that this will actually be happening. However, if it were to happen, what do I think it should include? First off, I think that the roster should consist of 5 or less characters. We're not really sure who would be making these games, but if it's a company like Rocksteady or WB Games Montreal, I'd bet that you wouldn't be able to switch characters in the middle of a mission. I'll talk a little more about that later. But anyways, I think that less is more in this case, if you know what I mean. These 5 characters would probably be Deadshot, Harley Quinn, King Shark, Captain Boomerang, and Bronze Tiger. Task Force X roster is constantly changing, but I feel like these 5 are pretty much always on it. The first mission would be from Harley Quinn's viewpoint. I actually have an interesting idea for how to do the tutorials for each character, so let's start with mission 1. So, Batman, Amanda Waller, or someone else like that would have made Harley realize that without her Mr. J, she really doesn't have any reason to be a criminal. I mean, if you look back to Arkham Origins, why is she a criminal? Exactly. So they would have put her in Blackgate, Arkham, probably Belle Reve, even though that's a new prison that they have to introduce. I don't think they'd really mind that. They'd put her in one of those for a while, then Amanda Waller would come and get her. This would either be a cutscene at the beginning, or it would be explained throughout the story. I personally would prefer the cutscene. The first mission would be Quinn going to enlist Deadshot. However, Deadshot is currently in his hideout. He somehow knows that Harley will be there and there's a boss fight. I don't really know how they'll want to have him introduce that, but anyways, before this, you'd want to introduce combat by fighting some Deadshot's goons. This boss fight would pretty much be identical to the one from Arkham Origins. The point of all of these tutorials would be to teach players how to play as these new characters. This one as well as the next few would mirror previous fights in the series. Yes, I'm saying that this game would preferably be in the Arkhamverse. Anyways, get rid of the gargoyles and vantage points. These criminals don't have grapnel guns, and that's just that. One of the many things that I love about Arkham Knight is that that game didn't just have gargoyles. In a lot of Predator encounters, you have beams, kind of like rafters almost, if you will, that make it more realistic. There can't be gargoyles inside every bank, that just doesn't really make any sense. This game should have beams, and just like Harley Quinn and Batman Arkham Knight, you can jump up to them if you're in a position to. I'd want the jumping in this game to be as realistic as possible. These characters are in the same world as Superman, but that doesn't mean that they're him now, does it? The next mission after Deadshot is forced to join the team would be playing as him. This would be recruiting King Shark. Just like the boss fight with Deadshot, this one would be similar to the Asylum boss fight with Killer Croc. Only Deadshot fires explosive ammo to attack King Shark rather than throwing batarangs. And King Shark can also see you, not just smell you. By the way, if they make a game that happens in between Origins and Asylum, please explain how Croc goes blind. They never explain it, at least to my knowledge, so let me know if you know. Anyway, so back to the game. Rather than collecting spores, you just shoot at King Shark until he submits to you. Because, you know, in Arkham Asylum, you have to collect spores. There's not really a reason to do that with King Shark. That's for the whole... It has to do with Poison Ivy. I forget what it is. But anyways, until he submits to you, you'll just keep on shooting at him. Now, I forgot to mention this earlier, but the 2 boss fights would both end with a cutscene of Argus agents coming to get the criminals from you. And before this boss fight, you get, some combat, just like Harley Quinn. You'd have some combat where you get to see his quick fire guns and stuff like that, as Deadshot. Next, you'd be playing as Bronze Tiger. So before I get into this mission, I want to explain something about Batman Arkham Origins Blackgate. In this game, in the Suicide Squad game, they would explain that at the end of Blackgate, Deadshot finds a way to leave the squad, but Bronze Tiger stays. This would explain why Deadshot appears in Batman Arkham City, because if you don't know, at the end of Batman Arkham Origins Blackgate, Deadshot and Bronze Tiger, and maybe someone else, I forget, but they're both in a helicopter, and they're going away and setting up the Suicide Squad. But then later on, we never see Bronze Tiger, but we see Deadshot in Arkham City, and I think this would be some way to explain it. Maybe Deadshot, he doesn't like the squad, so he leaves the squad. That's why you need to get him back in this game. So, since Bronze Tiger's already part of the squad, he would go to recruit Captain Boomerang. This would be like the Vaz boss fight in Arkham City with you sneaking around. Captain Boomerang would have hostages. You just do a takedown through a glass or a weak wall or something like that, because that's what Batman does. And like I've said before, this game I think should be same universe, but not the same universe, same gameplay, similar gameplay as Batman Arkham. Harley would do silent takedowns or loud takedowns, whichever ones the devs want to go with. If you don't know already what she does in Batman Arkham Knight, because you can play as her in Batman Arkham Knight, if you didn't know already, she does loud takedowns and no silent takedowns. She cannot do silent takedowns at all. Not just through grates and vents or loud takedown. No, everything is a loud takedown. It literally says loud takedown. It doesn't just say takedown or silent takedown. It says loud takedown. Sorry, a little off topic, but I need to be specific about this. It is loud takedowns. Everyone else in this game would do silent takedowns, but for her, really whatever the devs want, they can do whatever they want. Deadshot's bullets would basically be Nightwing's wrist darts, but maybe with a few more uses. By that, I mean more ammo, if that was unclear at all. I think that his gun should reload, though, because, he's Deadshot, right? So his whole thing is that he's an expert shot, so he should have a cooldown on that gadget. So if that doesn't make sense, basically, the smoke pellet, you know how you only use it once in a Predator room, and then you don't have it until after that Predator room? I think it should be more like, if I'm not mistaken, the Disruptor in Batman Arkham Knight, where you have limited shots, but it reloads over time. Oh, like the Sonic Batarang, that's a good example. The Sonic Batarang reloads over time, and I think it should be like that. So you only get 4 to 5 uses maybe, but not 4 to 5, 4 or 5 uses with it. But then it should have a cooldown rather than just simply you can't use it for the rest of the fight. He would also have 3 or 4 shots of disruptor ammo. This would not reload. So he could also have a type of faraway explosive gel, so kind of like explosive ammo. Now the bad part about this though is that the devs would have to nerf it, because direct hit from this in a group of 3 people, and that's 3 instant takedowns, so yeah. King Shark and Captain Boomerang wouldn't have any predator encounters, I wouldn't think. King Shark would probably be like the lizard from the Amazing Spider-Man game. If you don't know what I'm talking about, in the game The Amazing Spider-Man, there's a DLC pack called The Lizard's Rampage or something like that. You can jump pretty high, so they want to dial that down, but other than that, it'd pretty much be the same as that, his fighting style and just the way he explores in general. King Shark would have a massive pool of health and would take less damage than the other characters. This means that his boss fights would be against people like Killer Croc. Might also want to include a mission to Santa Prisca to fight Bane. I think that would be interesting, like infiltrating Penaduro. I think that'd be really awesome. King Shark would also have to fight against people in groups of 50 or so enemies, and he'd also do a lot more damage. That's why 50 or more people. These enemies would probably have really big guns too. So I'm talking about like RPGs, grenade launchers, stuff like that to just shoot at King Shark. He'd be the brute on the team. You'd have Deadshot would be the kind of leader specialist. Captain Boomerang would also be a specialist, but obviously different. Bronze Tiger's like Batman. He's a stealth and martial artist specialist. Harley Quinn's kind of the loose cannon, but she's still skilled. And then King Shark, he'd just be the brute on the team. He'd wipe out everyone. And then I still have Bronze Tiger and Captain Boomerang to talk about. Captain Boomerang's boomerangs. Sorry, it kind of sounds like a candy name, or a candy store name, sorry. Captain Boomerang's boomerangs would work like Nightwing's Screama sticks. They could ricochet off of enemies and come back to you. Might also have a gun, because realistically he might, but these are comic book characters. Come on, boomerang are things, not guns. He might also have different types of boomerangs, such as explosive boomerangs, but again, just like Deadshot, they'd have to somehow nerf this. Now it's time for Bronze Tiger. Oh boy, yeah, this is gonna be fun. Bronze Tiger would basically be Red Hood from Arkham Knight. He'd have quick silent takedowns, because all he needs to do is just stab someone, snap their neck, something like that. He'd be the quickest character in the game, kind of like how Catwoman's faster than Batman in Arkham City. then Harley, Deadshot, Shark, then Boomerang. Anyways, his combat would be the quickest and flow the best. I think that what the devs should do, just to make the characters unique, is to give them special things in their combat. What I mean by this is that they might only give Bronze Tiger focus mode, only give Deadshot a multi-ground takedown, only give King Shark a group attack where he'd swing his arms around and whack a bunch of enemies. Maybe give Harley another type of group attack, but different, so maybe she shoots out her gun, swings her baseball bat or hammer, whatever they want to do. Also, if the Justice League is going to be a part of this game, I think that it would be cool if the boss fights got harder than harder. So the first one might be Green Arrow, then Wonder Woman, then Green Lantern, then Superman. Batman would already be dead, or at least presumed dead after Arkham Knight, so you wouldn't be able to fight him. I think they could say that Batman was never part of the League in this version. I think that would be alright. I personally would be fine with that. And I'd also want to see characters added post-launch. So people like Killer Frost, Killer Croc, Killer Moth. What I mean by post-launch is within the story, or DLC to use them on challenge maps and such. They could also have story DLC where you see how these characters get added to the squad. So how they get captured and stuff, and then have maybe a mission with them or something. I think that would be interesting. So that's at least how I would start the Suicide Squad game. I'm not sure what direction I'd want to go in from there. I think I might have Lex Luthor take over the squad from Amanda Waller. She gives him the squad, but he takes it over, and then he uses it to try to kill Superman, and that leads to them fighting the Justice League. That would be an interesting take if you ask me, at least. So, also be on the lookout for a video like this for Arkham Legacy, or Gotham Knights, whatever they end up calling it, because I'm interested to do that as well, things that I want to see in that game. This is actually the first video that I'm recording for my channel, so this is scripted, so it might sound a little bit weird. So let me know what you think about the background music, me beatboxing, the audio, and just the way that I talk. You might not, maybe you hear, maybe it's too loud, maybe it's too quiet. This is my first recording of a video, so let me know what you think. And I'll probably do bullet points from now on rather than having a full script like this. It just takes me too long to write. Makes me even wonder why I'm still typing right now. And at the end here, I just want to give a quick shout out to another YouTuber who inspired me to do this video and partially inspired me to make my channel as well. Degenerate J. He has 2 or 3 videos about the Suicide Squad game that's going to be revealed soon at DC Fandom, and you can see here there's a thumbnail for one of them. This inspired me to make this video, so thank you to him. I hope you're seeing this video if you are Degenerate J, and definitely go check out his video. I'll have it linked in the description below. Alright, that's it. Have a nice day.